Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about a shift that's quietly becoming one of the most important topics in enterprise AI interoperability. Now, that word can sound a little technical, so let's make it simple. Interoperability means different systems can work together without needing a custom bridge every single time. Think about travel adapters. If every country had a completely different electrical plug and no adapters existed, travel would be a mess. You'd spend more time figuring out how to charge your laptop than doing your actual work. That's where AI is headed if we're not careful. We're moving from individual AI tools to ecosystems of AI agents. These agents need to talk to tools, access data, handwork to one another, and collaborate across platforms. The big question is this: how do we keep this from becoming chaos? That's what this session is about. We'll unpack MCP, A2A, and why the future of enterprise AI depends less on one brilliant model and more on how well many intelligent systems can work together. Let's start with the core problem. In the early days, large language models felt almost magical. You could ask a question, draft a document, summarize a report, or brainstorm ideas. But there was a catch. They were powerful but isolated. Think of a brilliant employee locked in a room with no access to company files, tools, systems, or colleagues. Smart? Absolutely. Useful? Only up to a point. That's phase one: monolithic LLMs. One large AI model doing reasoning, but mostly on its own. Then came phase two: siloed agentic systems. These agents could perform tasks, but they were often trapped inside vendor-specific environments. One agent might work inside one platform, another inside a different platform, but they didn't naturally collaborate. Now we're entering phase three: composite AI ecosystems. This is where multiple agents, tools, and systems work together dynamically. And here's the key insight: the biggest barrier is no longer just model intelligence. The bigger challenge is communication. Can these systems access the right context? Can they delegate work? Can they collaborate safely? Because intelligence without connection is like a great orchestra where every musician is playing in a different room. So, what do we need to make these systems work together? That brings us to the two pillars. There are two major ideas we need to understand: MCP and A2A. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. Its job is to help AI agents connect to tools, data, and systems. In simple terms, MCP helps an agent get the information and capabilities it needs to do useful work. Imagine you ask an AI assistant to analyze customer churn. The assistant needs access to customer records, support tickets, sales data, and maybe dashboards. MCP is like the standardized doorway that lets the agent access those sources safely and consistently. A2A stands for agent-to-agent coordination. Its job is different. It helps agents communicate with each other. So MCP connects agents to tools and data. A2A connects agents to other agents. Here's a helpful way to remember it: MCP is about getting the right ingredients from the pantry. A2A is about coordinating with the other chefs in the kitchen. You need both. An agent that can access data but cannot collaborate is limited. An agent that can collaborate but cannot access useful data is also limited. Now, let's look more closely at MCP first. MCP is focused on context and tool access. It was developed as an open standard for secure, two-way connections between AI applications and external systems. That matters because enterprises rarely run on one clean, simple system. They have files, APIs, databases, cloud services, ticketing systems, identity platforms, and more. Without a standard, every connection becomes custom work. That's slow, expensive, and hard to secure. MCP follows a client-server model. The AI host, such as a coding assistant or chatbot, connects to MCP servers. Those servers expose specific capabilities to the AI client. Think of it like a hotel concierge. You don't personally walk into the kitchen, laundry room, maintenance closet, and booking office. You ask the concierge, and the concierge knows how to route the request properly. MCP plays a similar role. It gives AI systems a standard way to access local files, enterprise APIs, and remote services. Why does that matter? Because it reduces custom integration work. Instead of building a unique connector for every single tool, organizations can start standardizing how AI systems reach the broader tool ecosystem. That's powerful, but tool access is only half the story. What happens when one AI agent needs help from another AI agent? That's where A2A comes in. A2A is about peer collaboration between agents. Instead of one agent doing everything, A2A allows different agents to communicate, negotiate, and coordinate tasks. Let's use a simple example. Imagine planning a business trip. One agent specializes in travel policy, another agent handles flights, another checks your calendar, another prepares the expense estimate. Rather than forcing one agent to know everything, A2A allows specialized agents to collaborate. Each one brings its own strengths. The slide shows a client agent and a remote agent communicating using web-based standards such as HTTP, server-sent events, and JSON RPC. Don't worry about the technical names. The simple idea is this. A2A uses familiar internet communication patterns, so agents can exchange messages and stay updated during longer tasks. That last part is important. Some work takes time. An agent might need to check inventory, wait for approval, process a file, or monitor a workflow. A2A supports those longer-running processes. The impact is big. Agents can collaborate securely without needing to share internal state, memory, or proprietary logic. In everyday terms, they can work together without handing over the keys to the whole house. Now that we've seen MCP and A2A separately, let's compare them side by side. This slide helps us map the differences. MCP is primarily about agent-to-tool data extraction. It standardizes the input side. How does an agent access context, files, APIs, and business data? A2A is primarily about agent-to-agent task delegation. It standardizes collaboration. How does one agent ask another agent to take on a task, respond with progress, or return an outcome? MCP uses a client-server architecture. A2A uses peer-based task communication. The design mindset is also different. MCP is about grounding the agent in context. A2A is about dynamic collaboration, user experience negotiation, and longer-running tasks. So which one wins? That's the wrong question. The better question is, what job are we trying to solve? If we need an agent to retrieve customer data, use MCP. If we need a finance agent to hand work to a compliance agent, A2A is the better fit. This is not really a battle between protocols, it's more like comparing roads and traffic signals. You need both if you want movement to happen safely and predictably. Let's make that more concrete. This slide gives us a workshop-style example. A user says, "My car is making a rattling noise." One agent may ask for a picture of the left wheel. Another agent may coordinate with a repair assistant. Another may connect to structured tools like a lift platform or diagnostic equipment. This is a great way to understand the difference between A2A and MCP. A2A enables back-and-forth communication among agents. It helps them coordinate the plan. One agent can say, "I need more information," while another says, "I can inspect that component." And another says, "I'll handle the repair workflow." MCP connects agents to structured tools. It allows an agent to control a tool, retrieve information, or execute a specific action. So in this example, A2A is the conversation between specialists. MCP is how those specialists use the equipment in the garage. Why does this matter for enterprise AI? Because most business processes look exactly like this. They involve multiple steps, multiple systems, and multiple decision points. A customer onboarding workflow might touch CRM, identity verification, legal review, billing, compliance, and support. No single agent should own all of that. Instead, specialized agents should coordinate and use the right tools at the right time. But to coordinate well, agents need to know what other agents can do. That brings us to discovery. Before agents can collaborate, they need a way to introduce themselves. That's what the agent card does. An agent card is basically a structured profile. It tells other agents where the remote agent is hosted, which version it supports, and what skills it offers. Think of it like a professional profile for an AI agent. Not a resume filled with buzzwords, but a clean capability card that says, "Here's where to find me, here's what I can do, and here's how to communicate with me." The slide shows examples like task delegation, data summarization, image analysis, and cross-reference lookup. Why is this useful? Because a client agent can route work intelligently. If the task is image analysis, it can find the agent with that skill. If the task is summarization, it can send it to a different agent. If the task involves cross-checking information, it can choose the best remote agent for that job. This is where agent ecosystems start to feel less like isolated apps and more like a network of specialists. But of course, this only works if the protocol is designed well. So let's look at the principles behind A2A. A2A is built around 5 design principles. First, it embraces agentic capabilities. That means agents are not limited to basic request and response behavior. They can collaborate in more flexible ways even when they don't share memory, tools, or internal logic. Second, it builds on existing standards. That's important. The more a protocol relies on familiar patterns like HTTP and JSON, the easier it is for developers to adopt it. Nobody wants to learn a completely foreign system if practical standards already exist. Third, it is secure by default. In enterprise environments, this is non-negotiable. Agents need authentication, authorization, and clear boundaries. In plain language, they need to prove who they are, what they're allowed to do, and what they're not allowed to access. Fourth, it supports long-running tasks. Some tasks don't finish in 2 seconds. Think about background checks, procurement approvals, investigation workflows, or data processing jobs. A2A is designed to handle tasks that take time. Fifth, it is modality agnostic. That means it is not limited to text. It can support outputs like audio, video, forms, web experiences, and other formats. Taken together, these principles make A2A practical for real enterprise work. But here's the question. Will the market align around one clean model, or will we see competing ecosystems? That brings us to the market reality. This slide asks a very real question. Are we heading toward a turf war? On one side, we have tools. On the other side, we have agents. In the middle, there's a bleeding edge where the distinction starts to blur. Here's what that means. Tools are becoming more agent-like. They're gaining autonomy, workflow logic, and decision-making capabilities. At the same time, agents still rely heavily on tools. They need data, APIs, systems, and structured actions to produce real business outcomes. So, where does one end and the other begin? That line is getting harder to draw. The strategic insight here is important. Standardization is not a zero-sum battle. Developers only have so much time and attention. If the ecosystem fragments too much, everyone loses. Teams spend energy learning competing standards instead of building useful solutions. It's like having 5 different charging cables for 5 different devices. Technically, everything works. Practically, it's annoying and inefficient. So, what usually determines which standards survive? History gives us a clue. This slide compares the history of web standards. In the early web services world, XML and SOAP were powerful but complex. They offered extensive capabilities, especially for enterprises, but they were often difficult to implement. Then JSON gained momentum. It was simpler, easier to use, and friendlier to open source communities. Over time, simplicity won adoption. That doesn't mean JSON was perfect, it means it was practical. And that's the lesson for AI protocols. The winner in the A2A and MCP space may not be the most theoretically elegant protocol. It may be the one that developers can understand quickly, implement easily, and use with strong ecosystem support. That matters for leaders and architects. When you evaluate AI standards, don't only ask, is this technically complete? Also ask, can our teams actually use this without friction? Because adoption rarely happens through perfection. It happens through usefulness, simplicity, and momentum. Now, let's look at who is already lining up behind A2A. This slide shows strong enterprise support around A2A. We see technology platforms, AI infrastructure providers, and global systems integrators. That mix matters. Technology platforms can embed A2A into foundational software. AI infrastructure providers can help with routing and observability. Systems integrators can bring these ideas into large enterprise environments where workflows are complex and change management is real. In other words, this isn't just a lab experiment. The ecosystem is forming around practical enterprise adoption. Why should we care? Because standards become stronger when vendors, builders, and integrators all have a reason to support them. One company can introduce a protocol, but a community turns it into an ecosystem. For business leaders, this is a signal. If you're planning agentic AI architecture, you should assume cross-platform collaboration will matter. And no major enterprise vendor wants to be left out of that future, which leads us to Microsoft's position. Microsoft's message here is clear. Interoperability is no longer optional. The slide shows A2A flowing through Microsoft Copilot Studio and Azure AI Foundry. The point is that Microsoft is positioning agent interoperability as a core part of enterprise AI. There are 3 important pieces here. First, Azure AI Foundry integration helps developers across many enterprises build multi-agent workflows. Second, Copilot Studio Reach means Microsoft Copilot agents can securely interact with external agents outside the Microsoft ecosystem. Third, enterprise safeguards matter. This includes controls like Microsoft Entra, Mutual TLS, and audit logs. In simple terms, these safeguards help verify identity, protect communication, and keep a record of what happened. That's critical. Enterprise AI cannot be a black box where agents make decisions and nobody knows who did what. Trust requires visibility. Security requires boundaries. Governance requires records. Microsoft's adoption signals a broader direction. Agentic systems will be composable, cloud-aware, and less trapped inside single platforms. Now let's bring MCP and A2A together in one workflow. This slide shows what Composite AI looks like in action. A user interacts with a Microsoft Copilot Studio agent. That agent delegates specialized work to a Google-hosted sourcing agent through an A2A pathway. Then, when secure enterprise data is needed, an MCP pathway retrieves candidate data from an air-gapped enterprise database. Let's slow that down. A2A handles the delegation between agents. One agent says, "I need help," from a specialized agent and sends the task across a boundary. MCP handles secure data extraction. When the workflow needs trusted enterprise context, MCP provides a structured way to access it. The value comes from using both together. This is where the future starts to become clear. The best AI workflows won't live entirely inside one app. They'll move across systems, platforms, agents, and data environments. Think of it like a relay race. One runner does not run the entire course. Each runner carries the work forward, hands it off cleanly, and trusts the next person to do their part. That's the promise of Composite AI. Specialized agents, secure tool access, and coordinated workflows working as one experience. So what should we do with all of this? Let's close with a strategic outlook. The main message is simple. Build for the ecosystem. First, design for composability. Avoid monolithic AI architectures where one giant agent tries to do everything. Instead, build specialized agents that expect to collaborate. Smaller, focused agents are easier to govern, test, improve, and replace. Second, standardize context and communication. Use MCP for grounded tool and data access. Prepare for A2A to support cross-platform agent orchestration. In plain terms, give your agents reliable ways to access information and reliable ways to work with one another. Third, avoid vendor lock-in. The best agents won't live in a single application or cloud. They'll operate in the flow of work across teams, systems, and domains. That final line captures the whole session beautifully. Agents shouldn't be islands. Intelligence must work across boundaries, just like the world it serves. So as you leave this session, here's the challenge. Look at your current AI roadmap and ask, are we building isolated intelligence, or are we building connected capability? Because the next wave of enterprise AI won't just be about smarter agents, it'll be about agents that can safely collaborate, access the right context, and deliver outcomes across the business. That's the interoperability imperative. And if we get it right, we don't just make AI more powerful, we make it more usable, more trustworthy, and more valuable for the people and organizations it serves. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share this with someone who's thinking about the future of AI, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Your support helps us keep creating practical, real-world content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.